Welcome to the second section of our discussion, and today we were discussing about the blue economy. Our guest in studio is Geoffrey Magu, who is a marine scientist, and actually we welcome you to this section. And just to begin with, we have the blue economy, and we have the national and international treaties, and we also have some disputes. So how are these disputes affecting the development in the blue economy section?
Thank you very much. Just as you have said that there are very many treaties concerning the blue economy and the marine ecosystem. So for example, like United Nations, the Law of the Sea, and many of these treaties do not go in line with the national policies, for example, in Kenya. And we see, for example, due to this disharmony, countries are not able to utilize these resources appropriately. So, for example, when it comes to the Law of the Sea, so for example, there is a place it is stated that that nations should only venture into a certain area of the sea. But we see nations trying to go beyond the boundaries. And that is one major thing that has brought dispute even between nations. So for example, if I can give an example of Migingo Island that is in the western region, there was a dispute between Uganda and Kenya concerning Migingo Island. And this is because the both countries had interest in this area because it seemed to be profitable and to give resources to the nations. And we experienced a lot of disagreement. And there was no harmony. For example, now when it comes to, for example, water resource, there's an issue that is going on in our country that the people of Murang'a, where water of Nairobi come from, do not accept the fact that their water comes from their region and it does not profit them. So that's another dispute that comes between people disagreeing to go in line with the sustainable conservation of resources. So I think that's a major disadvantage and a major problem we are facing
in the sector of the blue economy. And actually that is you've talked of the United Nations Law of the Sea, and we also have the issues of the conservation for biological diversity, which also advocates for sustainable use and also equitable sharing as far as conservation is concerned. And so maybe you can give us a recommendation, because from our previous discussion we talked about the issues that are affecting the blue economy. Maybe you can just give us what are some of the recommendations you do recommend, given that you are the marine scientist in this case and you're also situated in the marine regions.
One recommendation, we see that the people who affect the ecosystem at a very high rate is the community, because the community is very close to these resources. And one recommendation that should be enhanced is now awareness, because majority of these people are not educated and they don't know anything to do with conservation. And I think now it's a time that both governmental and non-governmental organizations should work toward creating awareness to these people to ensure that they utilize these resources sustainably. Because some of them do not have any idea of the effect of utilizing these resources.
Exploitation.
Yeah, true. And another one is, just as I had said, is that we have a lot of policies, a lot of treaties that are in place, but governments do not implement them in details. And I think another recommendation is that instead of having a lot of policies without implementing them. So it's better we implement the few policies that are there to ensure that we have sustainable use of these resources. Yeah, because for example, if there is a country that has a lot of policies toward conservation is Kenya. A lot of policies,
And actually, they have even joined a lot of treaties. Exactly. They get signed in.
Very many treaties, by the way. But we do not see the government implementing these policies. Yeah, due to things to do with corruption and so on. Yeah, because maybe some people who are well known, maybe in quotes, they want to utilize more than others, and so now the government is not able to implement these policies. I think the government should work toward implementing these policies, and they should be very strict to ensure that these policies are implemented.
Okay, and maybe I can just ask you a question about aquatic resources are part of blue economy. And so according to the CBD, actually the Convention on the Conservation of Biological Diversity 1992, they actually advocate for women being involved in conservation activities and also in policy making processes. So what's your opinion? Do you think it can help, especially now that we have most of the African women educated? But what is your say?
Do you think we are not in an era where women were minority in the society? And now a time has come, and we have realized that these women can be so influential when it comes to conservation. And in my opinion, these women should be encouraged to gain more knowledge and to be part of the conservation. So, for example, when it comes to marine ecosystem and conservation, we have a Gazi project that is, and we have a lot of women who are doing the actual work of conservation. And I think that if more women are given the opportunity, they can be of great help to the conservation. To give another example, there is a place in South Coast, where they deal with catching of seaweed farming, and women are the ones that are involved in the actual farming of these seaweeds. And so, in my opinion, I would encourage women to be empowered and to be given opportunities because they have shown that they can be so influential when it comes to marine conservation and management.
Okay. And what about the youth? Now you fall at this category of the youth. So what do you think you can do to ensure that indeed this blue economy is promoted and that the end result is that we promote sustainable development?
Youths are most energetic group in our society. And they can be of great help when it comes to conservation because these people are young, they have the energy, they can move around from one place to another conserving the ecosystem. And I think it's a time that young men should embrace conservation because you know that very many young people want blue-collar jobs. But when it comes to the actual work of conservation, they don't want to be part of it. Yeah, because for example, when it comes to mangroves, you have to go to the mud and joke around with mud and so on. But young people do not want to play with mud. But there is no conservation we can get without going to the ground. Yeah, because conservation is not about sitting in an office. It's about going to the field and doing the actual part, work of the conservation. So I think young people should embrace these and they should take it as an opportunity for them to even grow more and to venture more into these ecosystems. So I think young people can be so influential and they should embrace this. Yeah.
Okay. So yes, actually young people should embrace conservation, because if they don't, then who will? Because actually they are forming the 60%, that is just above the average, the half percentage of the population. And so we need much more of them getting involved, going to the field, so that we ensure that indeed these future generations, they are not placed in a compromising situation. Okay, and so let us, I want us to just do something before we end the show. Maybe you can talk to us about, we have now the blue economy, we have the activities that are taking place currently. And so maybe you can just tell us what are some of the strengths and the weaknesses of the activities that are taking place.
Before I go to your question, you could like to illustrate something. Some few years ago, someone traveling to Mombasa, after Changamwe, he was welcomed by a bad smell that was coming from Kibarani. But for example, you travel today to Mombasa, that smell is no longer there, because people have worked toward dealing with the pollution that was there. So they have conserved this area from what was a dump site. Now it's a very nice place that you can go and have some rest and enjoy the cool breeze of the sea. And I think that's a very good thing that the county government of Mombasa has done. And also, if you go to Mama Ngina, so Mama Ngina used to be a place where people could go and just have some rest and enjoy the sea. But the government came with a project that will be dealing with the tourism sector. And I think so far we are doing fine in conservation in Kenya, and I would encourage the government to continue doing the same, because that is what we actually need in Kenya.
Okay, so maybe you can just face the camera and say the final word to the viewer.
Thank you very much, viewers, for being with us. And one thing I would like to tell you is that you are part of conservation. You should be part of conservation, because if you don't conserve our environment, you will be affected by the negative effects of this global climate change and so on. So I would encourage you to be part of it. And one thing I would like to tell you is that blue economy is what people should actually embrace, and they should work toward this new term that has come into the country. So, let us accept it, and let us work together with the government to ensure that Vision 2030 is seen, and it has come to pass.
Let's actually advocate for the Vision 2030. And so thank you so much for staying tuned to Champions TV once again. This is the end of our show today. And actually, I would like to encourage us to take part in the blue economy, to ensure that we promote blue economy in a sustainable way, because both of us, we have the idea of the future generations in mind. So until next time, enjoy your weekend.